This episode of Blow Jam is brought to you by Rhone.com. Get 20% off at tryrhone.com/blow when you use code BRIDGE20. Hey buddies, it's Blow Jam presents Podsmash, the world's best podcast that reviews podcasts. And I am your esteemed host, Delia Blowjam. And with me, as always and forever until the day I die, is my co-host Ryan Blowjam.
That's me.
Yo, me and Ryan, we have an extra special episode for you today. So our friend of the Blowjam, Mike Peters, he's been on before, excellent comedian. He started his own podcast, and he came by to tell us all about it. So that's coming up in a little bit. But also, we have brand new crazy news about our insane neighbor, who we call Meatwad. So you'll hear about that in a little bit, and so much more. So without further ado, hey, let's just talk about a couple of our favorite episodes of the week. Buggy, you started off. What was good?
All right, my number one pick is Behind the Bastards. It's a podcast about the worst people in history, hosted by Robert Evans. This week's episode is called The Man Trying to Resurrect 8chan. It's about a man named Jim Watkins who's trying to get 8chan up and running again, despite it being the website at the center of an epidemic of mass shootings. Robert talks with 8chan's reformed founder, Frederick, about how 8chan was formed and how it got out of control. It's a pretty interesting episode. There's a lot of minutia. I have like a whole page written on it that I'm not going to...
You're just really into it.
I was trying to do it like last night and it wasn't working.
Yeah, Ryan and I, we drank a lot, and he was like talking about Wizard Chan, which is crazy.
Made it way too complicated.
There's
2chan, 4chan, Wizard Chan. There's all these chans.
So many chans.
Yeah.
Got more chans than a Chinese phone book.
And now he's trying to change the name to like 8kun or something.
What?
8kun or something. 8kun.
That doesn't sound
I don't
racist.
know. It doesn't sound good, but...
Nah, it doesn't. Real quick, if I could piggyback on it, the best part about it that I heard was 8chan was created off of an acid trip.
Oh, yeah. He invented it on a drug trip.
Yeah.
Basically combined Reddit with 4chan.
Yep, and there you go. Thanks, acid.
Thanks, acid. So you got one, or?
I do, and it's Behind the Bastards with host Robert Evans. It's about the worst people in history.
Oh.
It's kind of funny. It's not the same episode. This one was revisiting his old pal, Jeffrey Epstein, because Robert Evans did a story on Jeffrey Epstein as soon as the Miami Herald, or like pretty shortly thereafter, after they published their huge story. And so I knew about Epstein from way before everybody else did, and it was so upsetting when I found out his sweetheart deal, and it was just insane. So I'm really happy that they revisited it, and it's pretty interesting. So thank you, Robert Evans. You made it on top twice.
Nice. So my number two is Intercepted. It's a podcast where Jeremy Scahill, Glenn Greenwald, Betsy Reed, and others discuss crucial issues of our time. They do a really good short episode called The Case of Rodney Reed. On this episode, Jordan Smith and Liliana Segura discuss the case of Rodney Reed. The state of Texas has set an execution date of November 20th for Rodney Reed. He has been on death row since 1998 following the conviction in the murder of a young woman named Stacy Stites in April of 1996. There's an overwhelming amount of evidence in this case that Reed is innocent. It's more likely leaning towards like her fiance at the time, who was a police officer who has like a bad record of violence, and he's actually convicted of rape.
Wow.
So
just wow.
Maybe it's not the black dude, maybe it's the other guy.
Yep, he's been in jail for 20 years, and he's about to be executed when everybody knows he's innocent. We're going to kill an innocent man. Thank you, Texas.
And there's a strange coalition of like high-profile people, politicians trying to help his execution.
Like Kim Kardashian and others.
And Ted Cruz.
Whoa.
Which is weird.
All right, that's a dream team.
It's a weird group of people that are trying to...
Nice pairing.
That was interesting.
And you brought up, too, is that Rodney Reed was profiled on Sword and Scale, one of our favorite podcasts of all time, episode 42. So go back and listen to that. That's nuts.
I think the Sword and Scale actually went in more detail.
It's insane.
It's way more messed up than you think. It's like...
Right.
Oh, well.
Whew.
So you got another one, or?
Yeah, I sure do. What do we got here? Behind the Bastards. Oh, this is Uncomfortable. Man, this is on my top 3 like half the time, or top 2, or whatever the fuck we're doing today. It's hosted by Naima Reis, and I finally got her pronunciation of her name down, so go Delia. It's about this girl who was in serious debt, and she joined a church where it was like the debt annihilation group, where everybody would pull in, like the church would pay off their debt interest free, and then that person would keep making the payments, and those payments would go to the next person. So the church and everybody's pitching in to end their debt. It's really fucking cool. So listen to that. It's the most recent episode. I didn't even write down the name.
That's a good idea, though.
Yeah, it's great. Churches do help people a lot, but religion is bullshit. Okay, so you know what? We're going to leave it at 2 today so we can get to our interview with Mike Peters. That's coming up right now.
Yeah, let's talk to Mike.
And now we've got Blowjam returning champion Mike Peters is here with us to talk about his brand new podcast, On the Mic with Mike Peters. He's on the mic right now. Welcome, Mike. Thanks for coming.
Hey, thanks for having me here.
All right. So on our last episode of Podsmash, I gave you a glowing review. You were the first one at the top of the show, but I think it's probably best for you to explain what it is all about. So go ahead.
Well, thank you, by the way.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's a podcast I kind of had in the works since February, and then I figured after 6 months of not doing anything with it, I'd do something. So On the Mic with Mike Peters is basically an interview show where I try to go one-on-one. Every once in a while, it'll be two-on-one. Just interviewing local comedians around, I'd say probably like 150-mile radius of Binghamton.
I love how you have a radius.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's mostly people I book on shows.
Yeah.
And I want, so, I book pretty far away, but usually it's, around, if we're essentially in Binghamton, it's Utica, Ithaca, Albany, Rochester, Allentown, Scranton, Cortland, Elmira. So it's somewhere in there, Buffalo. And so I figure 150 miles is probably about it. But I just want to let people know how much talent Binghamton and the surrounding areas have for comedically. And it's been fun. I've recorded 4 podcasts so far, released 2, and really excited for it.
Yo, dude, you've done so much for the local comedy scene. It's like a renaissance, but it almost like it never existed before. And you do so many shows and perform with all these excellent people.
Yeah, thank you. I certainly didn't build anything. I mean, I'm building what I'm doing now, but the scene was there well before I was there. I think it was a little dormant and kind of came in waves. And there have been a lot of funny people coming out of here. And so, but I got into the scene about 3.5 years ago here, and there's a lot of talent. So I've been a fan of pretty much, and that's the thing. Like I always tell people, like I'm a real big fan of everybody I interview and everybody I work with. So, if I can put together shows, and I mean, you've been on a couple of the shows I've done, and
it was mad fun.
Yeah, and that's like it's a good environment. So, but if I can put on shows and make the audience happy, make the comedians happy, reward them for their hard work at open mics, and give them stage time, and now I'm able to pay them pretty well. For a while I was paying like $5-10 a show because I wasn't making anything. Now I'm making a little bit more, so I can reward the people who kind of stuck by me and went through the shit shows with me, and now hopefully we have better spaces and better turnouts and just a better time overall. So it's been fun, and I don't know if it's a renaissance or what, but there's a lot of good vibes in the comedy scene now, and I'm just happy to be part of it.
And yeah, it's like people only really know the nationally, acclaimed people out there with their comedy specials. And it's like, yo, you could actually listen to people who are going to get there, people who are just as good, if not better. So it's nice for people all over the world to be able to be like, oh, this is their community.
Yeah, it's been fun because I don't know. I moved away. I was in Lock Haven. I grew up in Binghamton, Endicott area, and I moved to Lock Haven, Pennsylvania, and Baltimore, and Annapolis. And when I came back, I wanted to perform. I wanted to keep writing. So I was a former journalist, and so many people over the last few years, and especially the months, they say I didn't know Binghamton had a comedy scene. And I was like, how do you not know? Like, I just think I'm so pervasive in the scene. I'm just a pest, and like if I'm not, man, I feel so bad for anybody who still follows me on Facebook, because every day I'm posting 3 or 4 things about a show coming up, or this person's on this show, and just promoting the scene. That I find it almost hard to believe that you don't know there's a comedy scene. Not to mention all the hard work done by the guys who are opening the Binghamton Comedy Club and other people around the area. And there's a scene growing in Appalachian, and there's always something in Endicott and Binghamton and Johnson City, and for you and the Comedy Crawl every year. So for 5 years. So yeah, it's just weird how like it's like you got your head in the sand. But yeah, it's just been a lot of fun.
Isn't there one in Syracuse? It's kind of like it's pretty famous. Like
the Funny Bone.
Funny Bone, yeah.
Yeah,
they're all across like America.
Yeah, I think I don't know how many locations there are. I know St. Louis and Connecticut and Albany and but they're all over the place too. Columbus, and that the fun part is like how you say like Kevin James, he comes to Binghamton every once in a while. Seinfeld, Regan, they do, and they're national. But the talent we have, kind of touching what you mentioned, talent that I book, and a lot of people do. We've got guys who worked for Family Guy, and people with comedy CDs, and guys who wrote for, the Chris Rock Show and Jon Stewart Show, and there's so much talent, and people who are regulars at the Funny Bones and Comedy at the Carlson in Rochester, and then people who, maybe kids are in the way and they can't pursue dreams like we're most of us trying to do, but they're still so funny and they're good writers. I did a show in Trumansburg with a firefighter who is so hilarious, but he's not going to drop his job of being a firefighter to say, hey, maybe I'll try it at comedy. He's doing both, and it's just been fun to watch everybody. I work with the best people around, and they make me look really good.
Now, you mentioned the first comedy show opening in Binghamton, and it was your first guest, Bill Lake.
Yeah, Bill Lake.
So that was an amazing episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude. And like speaking of people who've been like writing, I would never have known this, but he wrote for SNL.
Yeah, he did.
The Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
What he called, he said that he was a faxer, and for anybody born after 1990.
Yo, I still use fax machines, yo. It's like still very much in the medical scene.
I never...
We used to call it the Mojo Wire.
I never was confident in using a fax machine, ever. I probably needed, because we had them in the papers, and I probably needed to use it 3 or 4 times to get one thing sent, and I'd call, like, hey, did you get this? And because we had receipts, but I didn't believe I did it right. So, but Bill,
you have to have faith in the fax machine.
Well, Bill told me, and I was really glad. And this part of this podcast is so selfish because I want everybody to know about these comedians, but I want to get to know them better. And I've worked with Bill, periodically for the last 3.5 years, and I've gone to a lot of the shows he's done. He's been on a lot of my shows, and I know him. We've ridden the car together, and we performed together, and I know his bio, but I don't know Bill super well, and so
now you know,
and
lots of interesting
stuff that you don't hear on the podcast. Obviously, that he came to the house and we bullshit a little bit for like a half an hour and started talking, and then we talked for an hour afterward, and just about baseball, and we have so many similarities. But yeah, Bill wrote for Letterman. He did freelance stuff for Letterman and Craig Kilborn and Craig Ferguson and SNL. And it's just been he's got an impressive resume, and it's kind of one of those guys where Binghamton has some talent, but you don't know they've got a writer for David Letterman, and he's not a full-time writer, but how many jokes has the average person had read on Letterman?
None.
And that kind of talent is in our neighborhood, and you don't know about it. So
until now,
right? And so even if like you came to see Bill Lake at a show I did, you would have no idea unless you read the bio I wrote for him. You would have no idea he wrote for Letterman. when you found out he did, you're like, oh, that makes sense because his jokes are really good. But now I'm hoping to give this platform, like, I'm trying to keep the episodes to about an hour apiece, but I'm trying to give the talent an hour to talk about, how they got started, why they're doing comedy.
A deep dive.
Yeah, like one of my favorite questions to ask is what's your worst show? Because man,
that's actually funny.
I don't know who wants to hear about anybody's best show. Oh, you killed in front of 250 people? Eat shit. like whatever. You're better than me. I get that.
It's more funny to talk about the shitty shows.
And honestly, those shows stick out more than the good shows because you're like, okay, maybe you got jokes out of this. You don't joke about a good show because whatever. It just sounds bragging. So that's kind of. But I like to see what their motivations are and what shaped that person. Like with Bill, I didn't know that he is doing a completely different style now than he did when he first started stand-up. And
it was not that long ago.
No, I mean, I think 5.5 years or something. So, no, it's been it's been a lot of fun to introduce, get to know those guys better and introduce them to, however many people are listening.
Hell yeah, man. And I'm so glad you came on. I have a couple little thought experiments for all of us to go through. All right. Well, first off, this one is for you, Mike. If you could have any comedian on your show, who would it be? But the caveat is that they have to be currently dead. And you, me, and Ryan, we have to do blood magic to get them back. And then they can only be on our astral plane until midnight. So who would it be? How would you work it?
Man,
what questions?
Our schedules really have to be in sync then.
It definitely. You can't have a show plan. Otherwise, cancel it.
Oh, okay. Well, my favorite comedian of all time is George Carlin.
Oh, yeah.
So he's easy. Like I thought, maybe Mitch Hedberg, but George Carlin is the man. Now he'd probably make fun of the way we got him back, and he's probably doing something like interesting, and we took him away, so he's not going to be happy with us. But yeah, he's my guy.
He'd be like pissed off.
He's like,
yeah, what the fuck?
I was doing coke with Elvis. What are you doing?
He would be so mad at you.
How dare you?
I know. You never get this opportunity. Well, like twice a week, but still. No, I George Carlin was my favorite. We as kids, my buddies and I we'd recite his bits all the time, and I'm a huge fan. So yeah, I'd do whatever it took to get him to acknowledge my presence.
That is awesome. Good, excellent choice. And then I have one more thought experiment, and I'll open the floor to this. All right. So each of us, we're gonna pick a random comedian. Just Mike, first one that pops in your head. Just pick a random one.
Mike Birbiglia.
Mike Birbiglia. Excellent choice. Oh. All right, it gets better. So, Mike Birbiglia is our constant.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to throw out some variables. All right, so who would win in a fight? Like a street brawl, no fucking rules. So who would be Mike Birbiglia?
The other guy.
The other guy. Well, you're not going to know who I'm picking.
Okay, all right.
All right. So,
you ever heard Mike's material? It's the other guy.
All right. Well, let's just go ahead and, maybe not even another. All right. So Mike Birbiglia versus Danny DeVito.
Oh man.
See, you said everybody. I don't know about that.
Probably DeVito because I don't think Birbiglia has it in him to hit Danny DeVito, and DeVito doesn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, he's not.
He's got a low center of gravity too.
He sure does.
Can't knock him over.
What's that movie with Danny DeVito in the army? What's that called?
With the army?
Yeah, he was in the army, and it was in the '90s, early '90s, late '80s, maybe. Oh man, I forget.
Fuck.
No, it's not Stripes. It's after that.
That's
but oh man,
who's got a phone on their person?
I think I do.
All right. In the meantime, let me.
Shut mine off.
I'll take this to Ryan while you're looking that up. So Ryan, who's your random comedian?
Stephen Wright.
Stephen Wright. Okay. Who's gonna win? Stephen Wright or Mitch Hedberg?
Stephen Wright.
Probably because Mitch is dead.
Yeah.
So he'll just be like throwing punches.
Yeah, but if he were alive, he'd be too stoned anyway. It doesn't matter.
That is true. Oh, you know what? And as far as Stephen Wright goes,
Mitch was a little he was kind of like a more out there.
Whatever, man.
Yeah. Let me make jokes about food, and we love him.
Stephen Wright was the more manic depressive style.
Still is.
Yeah, still is.
I reviewed Paul Kozlowski's podcast on the show.
It's a great podcast.
It is so good. Look who showed up. He's got
so good.
He knows so many people, namely Stephen Wright. I'm fucking jealous.
Just in Boston for the weekend with him.
Yeah, I saw pictures with
him
him.
and Ken Rogerson.
See, that's so
Went up
cool.
to record, yeah.
Like we perform with like legit
That's the thing.
as far as it goes comedian.
I
He
love
was
seeing
all
that.
over the place.
He's like, I tried to hang myself with bungee cords. I kept almost dying.
Renaissance Man, by the way. That's the video movie.
Renaissance man.
Yeah, no,
that's right. Renaissance.
like
Renaissance
Kozlowski
Man.
is godsend. I mean, I could put him on a show and have instant credibility, and that's the guy just kicking around the area.
What does Stephen Wright say? I wrote an unauthorized autobiography and I sued myself.
That's awesome.
pretty good one.
Let me go, and you guys are going to give me
right.
a variable. So I'm going to pick Jerry Seinfeld. So who's
who we're
Jerry?
gonna fight,
Yeah,
right?
who's
Okay.
Jerry going to fight
Oh man,
in the street? No holds barred.
straight up, Jerry's like my size.
So you?
Maybe me. Yeah.
Yo,
I go,
you would.
I'm picking Michael Richards.
Oh, that
Kramer.
would be
Kramer.
interesting.
Kramer will win, I think. Kramer looks scrappy. He looks wiry, you know.
All right, so who would I pick? Yeah, Michael Richards, definitely.
Yeah.
He'll drop the N bomb and
I think Seinfeld beats him up because Michael Richards is afraid that he's not going to get any more residual checks.
oh, that's
He's going
true.
to let him go. It's like
He's got more to lose.
Yeah, it's like the joke where Adam Sandler loves to play basketball, and nobody ever fouls him hard because hey, he's the meal ticket.
Oh, man, I should have picked Adam
Yeah.
Sandler. That would be
Yeah, he's good
interesting.
too. Yeah, but everybody could beat the shit out of him too. It's just like,
All right.
ow, whatever.
But would they want to?
No, of course
No.
not.
What about Jerry versus Larry David?
Jerry versus Larry.
Ooh.
That's
Yo,
actually kind of a fair fight.
that's actually
I
perfect.
think I'd pick Larry David.
So would I.
He seems-
I think so,
he seems
yeah.
tougher, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
older, but
He's meaner.
I don't think he's got any rules.
yeah, you're right. He's probably gonna.
He's got his
Yeah.
own rules
Oh,
that
you're
he
right.
made
He's gonna,
up.
like, punch him in the nuts. Or
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he'll come up with an
Well, curb
excuse
stomp
for
him.
it.
Something.
Curb
Yeah,
stomp
there you
him. Yo, excellent note. That's amazing. So,
Make him bite the Kirby enthusiasm.
oh, okay. All right. So, Mike, where can we find your podcast, On the Mic with Mike Peters?
Everywhere, pretty much. It's on Apple, like all the iTunes stuff, all their apps. It's in Stitcher, Spotify, Google, whatever. It's all over the place. So, I think I just got approved for iHeartRadio.
Ooh, nice.
So I haven't clicked through and maybe it's not there yet, but I know I got approved for it. So yeah, it's pretty much everywhere you can find. Just it's if you got an hour to kill, on the mic with Mike Peters is the way to go.
Fuck
I
yeah.
got on iHeartRadio. I got in
Yeah.
a fight with the lady.
He thought that
Really?
He thought that she was a bot.
I thought she was a bot. She wasn't real. It was just
Wait,
like,
so-
I thought it was like auto response. And she's like, your RSS feed is broken or something like that. There's something you have to do. And I'm like, whatever. It works for everything else. Like, I'm like, okay, Donna, whatever. And I started like talking shit to her. And then like, she's like, you're not very nice.
Wait, so is this on the computer or?
Yeah, on the computer. We're talking
Email
back and forth.
exchange.
Yeah.
You're
okay.
insane. He was calling her a stupid bitch and
I was like,
everything,
I was like-
thinking,
Did that help?
I thought it was a
no, we're
No,
banned.
We're permanently banned from iHeartRadio.
But hey, enough
You got a good story.
enough about us. I am very
I thought she
happy.
wasn't real. I'm like, I thought you weren't real. She's like, I'm real, and you're never going on iHeartRadio.
All right. Well,
I don't
enough
heart
about
radio.
us because this is all about Mike. So I'm happy that you could get it virtually everywhere. And you do like 3 shows a week. Off the top of your head, is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, you can find everything I do on Mike Peters Comedian on Facebook, and all my schedules there. Right now I have rooms running in like monthly shows for the most part monthly in Cortland, Binghamton, Johnson City, Owego, Trumansburg, Norwich, Syracuse. And,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, one's going to open in Corning in April. I'm really excited about that one. I'm working on other places too. So basically, did I say Trumansburg? But
Yep.
Okay, so no, I'm just everywhere, and I'm looking to perform wherever I can and get people shows wherever. So if a venue wants to get something, get a hold of me. But you can find me on Mike Peters Comedian, and then on the mic with Mike Peters. So that's I do Facebook primarily, Twitter, on that stuff. So
And I had sex with Mike Peters on
that's
Instagram.
I had sex with Mike Peters. Nobody forgets that one.
Yeah,
They
it's
kind
memorable.
of are mad that it's in their subconscious, but yeah, that's a true story too. That's I got that off a joke. Do we have time to tell that or no?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So it's funny. Like I had sex with Mike Peters, my Instagram handle, and there's a story behind it where I just gotten out of that's just gotten out of a 4-year relationship is what is code for I get dumped, and so I'm in college and my ex-girlfriend broke up with me and she's living on the 6th floor, and I went to hang out with a new friend on on the 2nd floor, so we hung out. My friend named Sarah and another friend Jen, we were pre-gaming in her room, and then we went to a party, and I got like alcohol poisoning. So, nothing happened. Like I threw up in my room, but our friend Jen wrote on the whiteboard, "I had sex with Mike Peters." So, I remember this is how long ago it was. I remember Sarah's AIM screen name, and I'm like, okay. So we were talking the next day. So Sarah went out to take her garbage out, and she came back and she said, "Yeah, your ex-girlfriend just gave me a dirty eye, or like a stink eye or whatever." And I was like, I don't know what happened. So a couple hours later, she goes to the library, comes back, and she goes, "I know exactly what happened." She came off the elevator and saw the whiteboard that said, "I had sex with Mike Peters." Sarah had no idea about that. So where I'm like, oh. So I asked her, I said, "So was I good?" And she goes, "No, idiot. Nothing happened." I'm like, oh, damn. But that story made it around, and there are actually T-shirts going on around at Mansfield, where I went to college. The friends of mine wore T-shirts that said, "I had sex with Mike Peters." One of the sororities circulated around them. Every time I would walk into a bar or they would see me in the cafeteria or wherever, they would scream, "I had sex with Mike Peters." So when I went back for reunions, that would happen. Oh, wow. So I was like, when I got Instagram, I'm like, you know what, screw it, I'll do that. And then I'll get that one. And a friend of mine, my first comedy show, she brought a T-shirt that said, "I had sex with Mike Peters." And it was actually hanging at Maddie B's bar for like the last year and a half.
I think you need to make more.
Yeah. I know. That's what I've been thinking about, and people told me.
Yeah, I'll buy one.
So that'll probably be my first merch. Got that, and like gonorrhea ain't nothing to clap about.
Oh,
punchline of mine, and I've got a few of them. So
maybe it'll say that on the back, and I had sex with Mike Peters on the front.
Gonorrhea ain't nothing to clap. That's pretty good.
All right, so the next time you're going to hear from Mike, he's going to have all this new merch, and it'll be nice to touch base with you. I'll be, Blowjan's all about reviewing podcasts, so I'm going to be a dedicated listener.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on here.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. We'll have you back on soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. Hey guys, girls, and all you coolies in between. Roan is offering an opportunity to receive 20% off Roan products at tryroan.com. Now, Roan is a men's performance lifestyle and premium activewear brand that is engineered for unparalleled quality and comfort. And I don't know if you know this, but I am not a man. But I'm married to one, and Ryan fucking loves it. And that's because Roan makes something for the modern man, regardless of the occasion, in addition to an awesome collection of premium shorts, shirts, tank tops, socks, swimwear. Roan engineers clothing that's perfect for the office, long flights, and commutes. And Roan's commuter collection, in particular, is their performance alternative to everyday workwear. Roan offers everything from pants, polos, Ryan fucking loves polos, and shorts and shirts that are all lightweight, comfortable, and wrinkle-free. Wrinkle-free, that's a selling point right there. So also the commuter collection is good for all weather, anytime from a weekday in the workplace to a weekend barbecue. That's the best when you have apparel that is perfect for any occasion. You don't have to change it up every day. From work to the home to the parties and what have you. It's just like, hey, whatever, it fits. And Roan, I gotta say, it's spelled R-H-O, N as in Nancy, E as in Edward. You absolutely must check it out and get that 20% off, yo. So to save 20% on your first order, go to tryroan.com/blow and use code BRIDGE20, like Bridge over troubled 20. So again, that's tryvrone.com/blow and use code BRIDGE20 to receive 20% off. And we're back. Now's the time in the show where Ryan and we like to talk about news in the Blowjam universe. First things first, we were added onto a show last minute that we're so excited about, and it's at Galaxy Brewing. It's the shit. We love that stage. We're playing with Our Bros, Floodlands, Unethical, and a band from Philly, World Below. They're heavy as fuck. I am so excited to headbang, and Blowjam is like a weird alternative band, so... we don't fit in, but we're gonna
like
it.
Alternative rock jam band.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna open it up, and we don't sound like anybody else. I'm basically saying, like, I like these bands so much, I'm basically playing to get in for free.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep, and have some beer. Next thing, oh my fucking god, the saga continues with respect to Meatwad, our terrible neighbor. Last week, we were talking about them kids.
Oh, yeah, God.
Okay, so here's what happened with that, and we were not expecting this.
It's like every week, man. There's something new.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. It was less than a week before something happened. But let me take it back to the kids, because we went to talk to the police and just get documentation on the record that we talked to these kids. They threw this at our car. We talked to them. Nothing bad happened. We're not like crazy people abusing children, so we just wanted to let you know. We'll come to find out they considered that to be a violation of my order of protection. Got a temporary order of protection that's going to expire in 3 months. Well, it was supposed to until the kids started harassing us. Well, continued to, but we made that police report.
Now
we didn't expect this.
Extended for a year, right? So.
Yes, it's not temporary. It's a whole year, November 12th, 2020. But then, fucking 5 days later, the dog got loose. Ryan, do you want to talk about how fucking nuts it was?
It was crazy. Like, our motion light came on. I'm like, oh, what's that? And then the dog like slammed right into our door because we got like glass door you could see.
Yeah, top to bottom glass.
Yeah, it was like ramming our door. It was like crazy.
Growling and barking and like going for Tito. That dog wants to rip out Tito's throat.
Yeah, it wants to kill our dog.
This is the dog that bit me on my thigh when I was trying to kill Tito. I'm not going to stand idly by and let this pit bull fucking terrorize my dog and kill it, so I punched it in the head 3 times. That's how the order of protection got started, because she threatened to punch me in my face and was trying to blame Tito for the whole thing when it's on my land. It's just fucking nuts. So, those,
so this dog went out Cujo on us trying to ram our door.
Yeah.
So then we go out there and...
all like
everybody's
out there, like 5 kids, this one like teenage guy, like they're trying to get this dog, and I go out like I'm like, do you own a fucking leash? Like, I have an extra leash, I will give it to you. And Meatwad couldn't contain herself. She came up, stepped on our driveway, and started saying it's because the dog got loose and ran out of the door. And I'm like, you don't need to be talking to me. I don't need your explanation. It doesn't change the fact that your dog is terrorizing us, going to every glass door, trying to, like, ram our door. Yeah. And, like, I'm sorry, I was on the dog side, but now it's like this dog really wants to kill us. So it's like, figure it out. Like, I'm sorry, not sorry. So filed a police report, and she violated it again. She didn't have to step on our driveway or say shit to me.
She's supposed to stay at least like 100 yards away or something, right?
Well, it's hard when we're neighbors, so we just can't have contact. She shouldn't be talking to me. She scares the shit out of me and threatened me. We're on the end of a dead-end street, so I can't not pass her. I can't just go the other way. So it's like, that's cool. Like, you could be in your car, you could be outside your house, whatever. Don't come up to my house. Every fucking time they're coming up to our house.
They're coming on our property.
We're not asking for this. We didn't ask the kids to throw shit at our car. We didn't ask the dog to get loose. And it's like, didn't you learn from the first fucking time?
It's like, if you're just nice.
Yeah, if you just apologize.
He said sorry.
Instead of threatening to punch that raggedy-ass white bitch.
Then there'd be no police
Yeah, we
involvement.
wouldn't care. We'd be like, all right, apology accepted. Just be careful.
That's what a normal human would do. But this woman has no control over her kids or her dog or anything. She has no control of anything in her life. And it's pretty simple. Just put the dog on a leash and tell your kids not to throw rocks at cars. It's pretty easy.
But now it's gotten to the point of it being scary with the dog. We don't want the dog being put down, but we want the dog as far away as possible from us. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens with that. Keep calling the warden. We try to keep the police out of it. We just wanted to cover our butts with respect to the kids. And it's just out of control. And she just keeps shooting herself in the foot. The order of protection would have ran out in 3 months. Now it's going to go on for God knows how long, at least a year. And there's already another infraction that she hasn't been held accountable for yet.
Yeah, and it's weird because I grew up in, she's got that ghetto attitude. Like, I grew up in a bad neighborhood. And everyone on our street, it's the opposite of that. Everybody would protect each other.
Yeah, you grew up in the worst part of town.
I know. Like, she's got it wrong. You don't mess with your neighbor. You don't shit where you eat, man.
Yeah, you're supposed to look out for your neighbors, and she just wants to fuck up my life, our lives.
And I don't understand why, and it's not going to work out for her.
Yeah.
It's not going to end well.
She just keeps doing this to herself.
I'm sure we'll have more news about it next week.
Oh, hell yeah. Stay tuned.
It's a saga, the Meatwad saga.
It was crazy. In other news, our Tom Dowd episode is coming out soon, which is great because we're playing with this band in like a week. So.
Oh, yeah, we could try to get that out.
He is so funny. Yeah, we got to do this. We've been sitting on his interview for so long, and he's so great, and Floodlands is the shit. So we're doing it. It's coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. You want to get into our next segment, which is Ryan's new podcast. Ryan's new podcast. Ryan's new podcast.
All right, you don't have to sing it anymore. All right, so I listen to this podcast called Office Ladies. It's a podcast about The Office with host Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsley. It's pretty good. So it's interesting because they're rewatching the whole series and commenting on it from the standpoint of like actually being in the show. So it's more interesting than I thought it would be. And I listened to like 5 episodes. So I got really into it. I give it 2 Southern Tier Brewing Company live session beers and 1 sunset.
I agree with your review because you told me a couple fun facts from that, like how Phyllis was a burlesque dancer and like all the Easter eggs with like pictures of her at her desk.
As a burlesque dancer.
You just think she was a little crass. No, that was her.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like a lot of the actors on it started off being the writers. You know, like Mindy Kaling and
Toby, the guy who played Toby.
Toby, yeah, BJ Novak. It's pretty interesting.
Also, real quick, Creed, he was in the band Grassroots.
He was in the Grassroots.
So he had so many fucking singles, and that's a really important band to me and my family. So that's amazing.
Yeah, you don't even know that. I was like,
so
what?
Many nuggets.
I'm like, he's in the Grassroots?
And it sounds great, too, because, yeah, they watched it when the episode first aired, but they haven't seen it since then. So they're like, oh, my God, wow.
Yeah, so it's fun for them.
Fuck. I've been meaning to listen to that. Thank you for reminding me.
Do you have a new podcast?
I sure do. All right, so what do I got here? Imagine Life. It's from Wondery. It's hosted by Virginia Madsen and some dude. Forgot his name, and I'm not about to look it up. But it's basically, they take a public figure and they put it in the first person point of view. Like, you are so-and-so. You grew up here and you're really into this. And then this crazy thing happened to you. And they don't tell you who it is. They drop, like, little clues and hints. And then by the end, you can kind of figure it out. Some of the episodes are really interesting. One episode drove me crazy, and I fucking hate it. But, yeah, you should check it out. It's a neat concept. Yeah.
All right, so I got another one. It's called Why It Matters. Each episode of Why It Matters breaks down an issue that is shaping our world's future. It's hosted by Gabrielle Sierra. I listened to 2 episodes. First episode is called The Big Red Button, and the second episode is called China Doesn't Want Your Trash. The Big Red Button is about how the president has the power to nuke everyone. And do we really think one person should even have that power? I don't think so, but And China doesn't want your trash is about how for years China processed more than half of the world's recycling. Then in 2018, it said, nah, stop, shut the doors. It's crazy, man. So I give it, I'm going to give it that feeling you get when you stand really close to someone and scratch your belly and 6 plantains.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that. And I always forget about our arbitrary rating system. What would Imagine Life be? It'd be like 5 Robert F. Kennedys and like a grilled cheese sandwich.
Okay.
You got any more new podcasts?
No, I don't have a nay either. So.
I do.
Oh, okay.
My nay is Imagine Life.
Why? You just said like that.
I know it's good, but the one episode pissed me off so much. In the beginning, it led me to believe there was like a clue that pointed me in the complete wrong direction, and I was so fucking confused. And that's my least favorite feeling, is confusion. I like understanding things. And not until and I just kept wanting to fast forward, like, who the fuck am I? Who the fuck am I supposed to be? And then at the end, I'm like, fuck, this is bullshit. So don't listen to the episode called The Patron unless you like torturing yourself. And that's my only nay. You got any special shout-outs?
Yeah, Joe Rogan, he had Malcolm Gladwell on. It was pretty good, actually. I liked it. And Duncan Trussell, he had Aubrey Marcus on. That was pretty interesting, too, because Aubrey Marcus was like a polyamorous guy, but now he's sworn himself off of sex completely.
He probably had enough.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. After them years of orgies, I guess he's done.
Wow.
But I don't know. That was interesting. Because I want to listen. It's pretty weird. And that's all I got.
Cool. I got one. Sword and Scale, my favorite true crime podcast, and it's my favorite so much that I can't even talk. It came out with a daily episode where every morning it's the news. So they keep us up to date about crazy cases and new cases and just the fucked up things that human beings do. I get my true crime podcast fix, and it's really good. So thank you, Mike Boudet, and thank you, Sword and Scale staff. It's really good. All right, let's wrap this up, though. So big thanks to Mike Peters for stopping by. We got that show at Galaxy coming up. Follow us on the social medias. And please rate and review us. Like, we have listeners, but nobody wants to, like, take that next step. Don't be shy. Leave a comment.
Yeah, give us a call.
Yeah. Our Blowjam headquarters tip line is 607-296-7297.
I can never remember that.
I know. I don't know why I haven't memorized.
Not a very flowing number, maybe.
No, it's not.
That's why nobody calls.
Well, whatever. And I tried to look for letters that it could possibly be. No, there's no combination.
No
where it
good
would make
combination.
Sense. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for listening, and we will see you next week.
Monday, 2:02 p.m. You access to some information that can absolutely change your life for the better if you let it. I'm going to give you access to a short, pre-recorded message that'll show you exactly how to put $10,000 or more in your pocket in the next 10 to 14 days, and then $10,000 or more every 10 to 14 days after that. Now listen, I know that there's a lot of BS out there, but I can tell you this isn't one of them. So press 3 right now if you want to find out exactly how to start putting $10,000 or more in your pocket every 10 to 14 days. I guarantee you've never seen anything like this up until now. So press 3 right now to hear the exact details, or you can press 9 and you'll never hear from me again. End of messages.